Something smells really bad over there.
Bird or is it kids screaming?
I don't know what that is. That doesn't sound like wind.
Aku harus lapor. Aku harus lapor.
Frank runs a channel dedicated to exploring abandoned mines and unusual places across remote locations. This time, he's heading to the abandoned Waldeck mine during a storm. This wasn't just any mine. It's over 150 years old, dating back to the 1800s, and was apparently a big gold producer back in the day. The plan was simple. Drive up to a remote 150-year-old gold mine, test out a new flashlight, and document the mine's layout. What could go wrong? The mine entrance itself was impressive, a large portal carved directly into the mountainside, protected by a natural alcove that provided some shelter from the storm. Frank climbed over large boulders to reach the tunnel entrance, immediately noting the temperature change and reduction in wind noise once inside. As Frank ventured deeper into the mine, he discovered some fascinating and concerning features.
So that goes up into the stope, and you can see up there where my light is, all of those stacked boulders on that big round timber. All of that rock is apparently being supported by this ceiling made out of wood and timbers. Okay, now here they use tree trunks up there instead of boards. That is really old school. Look at that. All those rocks. That's insane. Look from this angle, you can see that's how much rock is stacked above our heads. And that's looking back at the ceiling and where we came from. Yeah, that's pretty cool, and I think the tunnel dead ends.
The mine revealed fascinating details about historical mining techniques. Instead of modern lumber, sections of the mine used actual tree trunks as ceiling supports. But it was when Frank reached the deepest accessible part of the mine that things took an unexpected turn.
Almost a foot in diameter, the big cross timber, so they had to put big ones in here to hold up all of this rock. And you can see right here where some of these boards are bending. Do you hear that? Sounds like, what, is that wind? I don't know if you can hear that on the camera. Do you hear that? It stopped. Wow. I don't know what that is. That doesn't sound like wind, but that's crazy.
If you listen carefully to the audio, the sounds have an almost whisper-like quality to them.
Wow. I don't know what that is. That doesn't sound like wind, but...
We've all heard strange sounds in unusual places, but Frank's reaction was telling. This is someone who spends his time in abandoned mines, someone familiar with the typical sounds these places make. Wind moving through shafts, rock settling, water dripping, wildlife. He knows what all of that sounds like. But whatever he heard in the Waldeck mine was different enough to genuinely unsettle an experienced explorer. When you consider that Frank was standing in a section with multiple stopes and ore chutes leading to unknown areas, it's conceivable that air movement could create sounds that resembled human voices. What do you think Frank encountered in the depths of the Waldeck mine? Natural acoustics creating the illusion of whispered voices, or something that defies easy explanation? Let me know in the comments below. Joe Cal runs a channel dedicated to exploring Indonesia's most haunted and abandoned locations. On October 15, 2024, he returned to an abandoned factory in Semarang that he'd visited before. But this time he'd heard some very disturbing news that would turn a routine paranormal investigation into something much more serious. While having coffee at a nearby vendor, the vendor told Joe something that immediately put him on edge. She claimed that just 2 months earlier, a content creator had been attacked with a machete while filming inside this very factory. But that wasn't all. According to her, an elderly man had gone into the building a week ago to catch fish and simply never came out. His bicycle was still sitting outside, abandoned. At 1:57 a.m., Joe made his way through the overgrown entrance to the factory.
Ada jaket teman-teman. Apakah ini jaketnya bapak-bapak yang nggak keluar itu? Kita coba masuk ya. Ini kalau ada ular aku kabur ya. Itu deal ya. Perjanjiannya ya, kalau ada hantu aku kejar, kalau ada ular aku kabur, kalau ada manusia juga aku kabur. Terutama manusia sih. Creepy Pak Le. Nggak ada orang kan di belakangku. Nggak ada orang kan. Sorry teman-teman, you know me lah. Aku benci banget sama manusia, aku benci banget sama ular gitu. Apa ini yang di kakiku? Enggak, perasaanku doang. Enggak ada apa-apa, Jo. Tuh ada ikan tuh, mujair. Halo, enggak ada orang kan di sini?
Joe has explored hundreds of abandoned locations since 2019, and he's never been one to back down from a ghost. But humans, that's a different story entirely. The building is partially submerged, filled with murky water and the occasional fish swimming by. It would almost be peaceful if not for that overwhelming smell that hits him in certain areas. A really, really bad smell. That's when Joe breaks out his equipment. The SLS camera immediately starts detecting human-shaped figures throughout the building. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking it's just picking up structural elements, but here's the thing. It's consistently showing these figures in the same spots where Joe's getting that horrible smell. The thermal camera makes things even more interesting. It's detecting heat signatures in areas where there shouldn't be any warmth. And when Joe combines this with the SLS readings, the results are pretty compelling. Both devices are pointing to the same locations, but it was the smell that really got his attention.
Ada dua informasi yang aneh tentang tempat ini. Yang pertama, 2 bulan yang lalu kata ibunya tadi ada konten kreator bikin konten di sini dibacok. Yang kedua, ada bapak-bapak mau nyari ikan di sini, udah seminggu nggak keluar dari sini. Sepedanya ada tinggal di luar gitu. Setelah aku diomongin kayak gitu, aku coba masuk, aku nemu jaket coy. Tapi aku nggak nyentuh jaket itu. I really put my life on the line. Bau busuk di sini teman-teman. Aduh, bau banget di sini. Bau busuk di sini teman-teman, sumpah. What the hell? Halo? Kalian tahu apa yang kupikirkan nggak sih? Ini mungkin aku ngiranya sini bau bangkai tikus ya. Tapi aku langsung keinget sama omongan ibunya yang tadi tuh teman-teman. Orang nyari ikan udah seminggu di sini dia nggak keluar. Apa jangan-jangan meninggal dalam sini kali ya? Di sini teman-teman bau banget. Bau bangkai tikus campur bau bangkai ikan. I don't know.
Throughout his exploration, Joe kept mentioning a terrible odor, like dead rats mixed with rotting fish. The smell was strongest in certain areas of the factory, particularly in the flooded sections where the missing man had supposedly been fishing. Joe followed the stench, thinking he might find some dead animals. But what he discovered was far worse. Using his spirit box, Joe began picking up voices in the areas with the strongest smell.
Oke, sensor satunya aktif. Kamu mau bicara apa nih? Ngomong apa? Halo?
We'll find it. Come.
Di sini banyak suara-suaranya teman-teman, yang spot yang di sini nih, yang tempat aku berdiri nih. Cuman suaranya aku nggak jelas gitu loh. Dia ngomong apaan? Suaranya lebih sedikit teman-teman. Yang tadi itu yang banyak suaranya. Nggak ngerti ya.
Throughout the entire investigation, Joe kept returning to one area of the factory. He's convinced there's a dead animal somewhere, but he can't locate the source. The paranormal equipment kept pointing to the same area. The SLS camera detected figures. The thermal showed heat signatures. The EMF detector was going crazy. Everything was telling Joe that something significant was in that specific location. And then, Joe found it.
Di sini bang kayaknya. Pekat banget. Tapi aku nggak nemuin apapun di sini. Itu apa itu? Apa itu? Apa itu? Baunya di situ teman-teman. Astaga, itu teman-teman. Itu di situ tuh. Astaga. Oh my god. Aduh, harus kukat nih. Itu orang teman-teman. Astaga. Astaga, bapaknya yang itu tadi. Astaga dong. Dia mau ngambil listrik ternyata. Tuh. Udah membusuk. Bener dong. Dia mau ambil kabel di situ tuh. Aduh, merinding aku. Ini aku terangin lagi nih. Sorry teman-teman, aku gemetaran. Itu dia mau ambil listrik kayaknya. Soalnya dia kayak terpelintir listrik gitu. Sorry teman-teman, aku harus lapor.
Joe immediately contacted local authorities and called his friend Hernawan to witness the scene. This wasn't content anymore. This was a real situation that required proper handling. Looking back at the investigation, those paranormal readings take on a different meaning. Was the equipment actually detecting the decomposing body? Were those spirit box voices trying to lead Joe to the discovery? Or was it all just coincidence? The following night, police arrived at the scene to investigate and evacuate the body. The deceased man's bicycle, which had been sitting outside the factory gates for over a week, was loaded into the police vehicle as evidence. An ambulance arrived to transport the body, bringing closure to what had been a missing person case. This is exactly why I respect explorers like Joe, who take these situations seriously and immediately involve authorities when they discover something like this. What started as a ghost hunt ended up helping solve a missing person case and bringing closure to a community. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this as compelling as I did, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Not all heroes wear capes. Sometimes they just carry flashlights and refuse to ignore a really bad smell. Mo Sargi runs a channel that's all about pushing boundaries, whether it's exploring abandoned buildings, camping in remote wilderness, or investigating paranormal hotspots. With nearly 3 million subscribers, Mo has built his reputation on going where others won't and staying when others would leave. But sometimes, even the most experienced explorers encounter something that crosses every line. This particular adventure started innocently enough. Mo had gotten his hands on a new e-bike and wanted to test it out while scouting for the perfect wilderness camping spot. After hours of trail riding and testing his e-bike through puddles, snow patches, and rough terrain, Mo couldn't find a suitable dry campsite in the new forest. So he made a decision that would change the entire tone of this adventure.
So I came back today to a place that you guys are all familiar with and you guys absolutely love. As you guys can see, there are no trails where I am. You might recognize this spot. And if you guessed the haunted doll forest, well, you guys are correct. The dolls are on the trees just down that way. Maybe I'll take you guys and show you. I always get lost in this forest, by the way. It's freaking creepy. Now, this is considered a very haunted forest, which is why I'm like, you know what? Why not come here and camp out by myself? Now, the only thing is I don't have a tent. I totally forgot that.
The setup seemed perfect. No tent? No problem. Mo decided to build a survival shelter using fallen branches and natural cover. The weather was mild, he had plenty of food to cook, and the creepy dolls hanging from the trees would just add to the atmosphere for a good video.
Whoa. Hey. What the fuck is that? Hello? Did that sound like a dog? Or was that a coyote? Like, I genuinely hate this place. Yeah, that just sounded like a dog or something. I wonder if like someone's out here and their dog got attacked or something. Anyways, look at this. So many of them. Terrifying. And maybe I shouldn't have even touched it with my bare hands. These are supposed to be cursed dolls. And I just touched it with my bare hands.
As daylight faded, Mo got his campfire going and started cooking his dinner, lamb skewers on a portable grill. That's when he visited by unexpected guest. A massive porcupine wandered into his campsite, seemingly attracted by the smell of cooking meat. For Mo, this was actually exciting. He'd never seen one in real life and was fascinated by the encounter. But while he was dealing with his dinner guest, something else was happening deeper in the forest. Something he wouldn't discover until much later. As night fell and temperatures dropped, Mo realized he needed more firewood to keep warm. Armed with just a flashlight, he ventured away from his shelter to collect larger pieces of wood. Then he saw something white between the trees.
There's a weird light back there. What is that? Must be a tower on the other side of like the forest. I don't see any logs. I just see a lot of like tiny oh, what the fuck is that? Shh. What are you? Shh. Animal. There's something there. It's right there. It's white. Better not be another friggin' porcupine. Did they come in white though? Thought I heard somebody. That's an animal. There's something there. It's not moving. Oh, what the fuck? Oh. Ew. Oh my god. What the fuck is that? Yeah, I just heard some coyotes. Oh, something smells really bad over there. Oh, what the fuck is this? Oh my god. No. Oh my god, no way. No. That's a dog. Oh my god, guys, somebody. What the fuck is that? Who would do such a fucking disgusting thing? Why would someone do that? Oh, you poor thing. Ew, it's missing its face. Oh, it's decapitated. What the fuck? No. Oh, I got blood on the stick. This is fucked up, man. Guys, I'm so sorry. This is fucked up. Oh my god. There's like dark blood on it. But then there's a head. That's disgusting. What the fuck, man? Why? Like, what would compel someone to do such a fucked up...
What made it even more disturbing was the realization that whoever did this had been in the same forest while Mo was there. The trails are far from where he was camping, meaning someone had deliberately gone deep into the woods to commit this act. And they had done it during the day while Mo was setting up his campsite just a short distance away. Without hesitation, Mo packed up his entire campsite and headed straight back to the parking lot. No investigation, no overnight camping, no testing his survival skills. Just an immediate evacuation from what had become a crime scene. This video serves as a stark reminder that when you venture into truly remote wilderness areas, you're not just dealing with natural dangers like wildlife or weather. Sometimes you encounter evidence of human cruelty that's far more disturbing than any paranormal activity or abandoned building exploration. Now, what do you think happened in that forest? Was this random animal cruelty or something more organized? The fact that someone went so deep off the trails suggests this wasn't impulsive. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, but more importantly, if you ever encounter anything like this in your own outdoor adventures, contact local authorities immediately. This terrifying video was uploaded on YouTube channel Sean SW. It starts off completely normal. just a guy running through the forest, occasionally passing other hikers on the trail. For the first half of the video, it's exactly what you'd expect from a trail running video. Beautiful scenery, the sound of footsteps on dirt paths, and the occasional "coming up on your left, thanks," as he passes fellow hikers. But that peaceful run was about to take a very different turn. While he was focused on his pace, something else was focused on him.
Holy shit!
Now, if you've ever wondered what pure survival instinct looks like, this is it. The man instantly started running for his life, and I mean really running. Not his usual jogging pace, but full-on sprinting while a massive bear pursued him. He occasionally glances back to see if it's still following, and honestly, watching this footage is pretty intense. The video cuts off abruptly, which obviously leaves us with a lot of questions. The good news is that he clearly survived to upload this footage. The fact that he managed to keep the bear at bay for nearly 2 minutes is actually somewhat telling. While grizzly bears can run up to 35 miles per hour, much faster than any human, they often don't maintain a chase if they're not protecting cubs or food. What do you think? Have you ever had a close encounter with wildlife while hiking or running? Let me know in the comments below. Louise runs a channel focused on solo wilderness adventures and van life across the UK. She's someone who's spent countless nights alone in remote locations, comfortable with the sounds of nature and the solitude that comes with wild camping. But sometimes even experienced campers encounter something that shakes them to their core. This time, he decided on 2 nights of solitude camping in Daring Woods, located in the southeast of England, just outside a quiet little village called Pluckley. What she didn't know when she arrived was that she had just driven into the most haunted village in all of Britain. Louise arrives at the woods feeling optimistic, quickly setting up her hammock and tarp before the weather turns. She's got her routine down, chopping wood, getting a fire going, and settling in for what she expects to be a peaceful evening. But as darkness fell completely, the atmosphere in the woods began to change.
I don't know if you can see a Cadbury's Pot of Joy yogurt, basically chocolate yogurt. There is a lot of noises in these woods. Sounds like kids screaming. Is it a bird or is it kids screaming? That's a bird. That's a gunshot. I don't know if you'll be able to hear a lot of this, it's pretty distant, but it sounds like kids screaming. Honestly, I've never known a woods with so many strange noises. It's not just your normal birds and stuff and planes, there's a lot of planes. There's like this weird... Oh, I don't really know how to describe it, but the hammock's really comfy, thank God, so I should sleep well, I would think. What was that noise?
Being an experienced camper, Louise knows the difference between normal woodland sounds and something else. But the real terror was yet to come.
convinced there's been a person or persons. What the fuck? I've never wanted the morning to come as much as I do right now. What the fuck is going on? That's just the owls. I didn't want to turn the light on earlier because I swear to God that was footsteps. This is definitely the scariest night I've ever had in a tent. I'm sure I can still hear footsteps.
When morning finally came, Louise reflected on what had happened. She was convinced that whatever had been walking around her campsite was human, not animal. Exhausted and shaken, Louise walks back to her van to grab some breakfast and check her phone. That's when she makes a discovery that changes everything. It turns out Pluckley Village holds the Guinness World Record for being the most haunted village in England, with between 12 and 14 known ghosts. The woods where Louise had camped are actually called Screaming Woods, a place where visitors regularly report hearing anguished screams coming from deep within the forest. During her exploration the next day, Louise made another eerie discovery.
There's camp way over there, and as I came around the corner when I was walking about last night, tell me that that doesn't look like a child's face or two children. So as I came round, I had my head torch on, and I walked like that, and literally just jumped out of me. Scary shit, that is.
So what do you think happened in those woods? Was it just Louise's imagination, influenced by the creepy atmosphere? Or is there something genuinely unexplained happening in England's most haunted forest? Let me know what you think in the comments below.